I have been shouting from the rooftops for months on this platform, encouraging women, all women, but I've been specifically speaking with Gen X women to take a break, take a pause, take a time out, get quiet, get still, whatever it takes. And I feel like I've been preaching it for months, which is why I am releasing my video diaries from 4 years ago when I took my sabbatical. I took a 3-month sabbatical, and what I thought I was going into it for and what it ended up turning into, totally different things. But it is that time that I took to stop and to pause is responsible for me taking a better turn with my life and better direction. And it is responsible for why I feel hopeful for my future, why fear and anxiety has just calmed way down, why I'm able to find so much more joy in the day to day. That sabbatical that I took 4 years ago was really the birthing point of a transformation for me. So today I'm going to share days 14 and 15 with you of those video diaries. And even though I had published it on a blog when I made it, hardly anybody looked at it. Nobody really knew that it was there. It was really more for me than anybody. So that's why I thought I would share it here. And we'll see. I don't completely remember what I said in these 2 days, but I'll let you know how I feel about it. And my name is Amy Palmer. I am your Gen X big sister. I usually talk about all things pretirement on this channel. Pretirement is the last 10 to 15 years before retirement. So if retirement is not in sight, but you know you can't keep living your life the way you have been, designing a happy, healthy, fruitful pretirement is key. That's what this is all about. And it was my sabbatical that kicked it off for me. So let's take a look. Hello, everybody. It's Amy on Tuesday, coming at you live from the spa montage. My final trip here before I take off. So things are going well. My stuff's been picked up. Tomorrow the cleaners come and my car's getting picked up tomorrow. So everything's on time. Let me show you a little bit of where I'm spending the afternoon to rest. I also have a massage appointment a little bit, but take a look at this. One of my favorite places to relax, unwind, journal, think, rejuvenate, etc. I mean, it's just gorgeous here. Absolutely gorgeous. Water looks amazing. So I just wanted to take a minute. To talk about something. So I've shared on here how I have dealt with depression and anxiety, and I'm putting it out there, and that's not easy to do. I find myself thinking, what if somebody who is thinking of hiring me sees that? Is that going to impact what they think of me and how they evaluate my abilities? And I'm trying to sort of push through that because I really want the opportunity to just be authentic and transparent and be my true full self and all that entails. So there's that. And what has happened is that a couple of my favorite thought leaders, two very different leaders, have been expressing similar struggles that they have had. One is Carlos Whitaker. He goes by Loswhit, LOSWHIT on Instagram. Love him. he is a Christian, which is not why I follow him, but he does a great job of just talking about controversial topics, all sides, carefully navigating, etc. And he very recently shared that he's been struggling with depression recently, and he did a podcast on the things that he did to get himself through the season of depression. So I highly, highly recommend that. I'll try to put a link to the podcast episode in the comments when I post this. But look him up and give him a shot, especially, during these times of having just lots of stuff to deal with. I find him a light and an inspiration and a balance. And then the second person, Gloria Glow Atanmo, Atanmo. She goes by Glow Graphics on Instagram. She is full of light and energy, and she has recently been sharing some of the struggles that she's been having and how she is navigating it. And she's calling it her light journey, Light. Life is getting healed today. And awesome thoughts that she's sharing on a daily basis. So I highly recommend that you go to Instagram and look at Glow Graphics on Instagram, because we definitely have a long way to go before we deal with any sort of mental health issues as being, I don't want to say the word normal, but understood. And think about it. Think about when you hear somebody express that they have those challenges. Does it change the way you think about them? Or what are your initial thoughts and feelings? And I'm guilty of it too. When I hear it, I can jump to sympathy. Oh, that poor person, or oh, that's too bad. And there's somewhere in the back of my mind where it does still feel like it's a weakness and something, to sort of that would impact somebody's full abilities. But I'm not sure. But that's kind of what the thoughts I have today. So check them out, Carlos and Glow. And hopefully this will become more and more acceptable to be sharing how we're feeling, what we're dealing with, how we're struggling, so that we can learn from each other and grow and evolve with each other. That's the goal. I'll leave you with this. Okay. Yeah. All right. So what comes to mind as I watch that is that both of the people that I mention in this video are still very present in my life right now, Chloe and Carlos. But I'll get back to that in a moment. I found it interesting that I was talking about shame around depression and anxiety and relating it to my corporate role. Behind the scenes of this video, what I had remembered by watching it was that day I also had a phone interview with somebody that wanted to talk to me about a corporate role, similar to ones that I had had before. And so and I remember kind of just like having the conversation because I was just moving forward with it. But part of my sabbatical was like no pressure for anything, like whatever comes to, I was trying to like just be open to whatever comes to me. And I just remember I didn't pursue it too hard, even though it was through a contact. A couple of these things happened during the sabbatical, it'll probably come up in later videos. But I found it interesting that I talked about the authenticity because I think that had a bigger impact on me than I realized at all at that time. I think a big part of my depression and anxiety was that I had spent years, decades masking who I am, who I really am, and how I feel and how I want to show up in the world because I was masking to be this corporate woman, right? And competent, credibility, strong, professional, strong business acumen, intelligent, still warm, caring leader, but still a lot of like really like strong attributes. That's what I was portraying. And I think that masking all of the other layers to me of me is part of what put me into depression on more than one occasion. And I think it's one of the reasons why I opted by the end of the sabbatical not to go back to corporate. See, I didn't know that that's what I was going to decide at this point. I was 14 days into my sabbatical, a couple of weeks. So I think I wanted the opportunity to explore other sides of me. I wanted opportunity to be able to speak on topics freely and share my opinions freely and my experiences freely. And a lot of those included things that I thought weren't suitable for a corporate executive to be talking about publicly. So interesting that I brought that up. And someday I think I think I need to do like a deeper dive into the whole PTSD after a corporate career. So let's talk about Carlos and Glow. I felt myself tearing up as I heard me talk about them. Carlos is still, from my viewpoint, a spiritual leader of mine. I don't think he would describe himself as a spiritual leader. He is a speaker, an author, and strong online presence, a lot of content. His podcast has paused, but it's still there and it's amazing. And he's still a very strong force in my life because he is such a light. And when people have asked, how have you survived all the chaos of these last few years, the up and down of what's going on in the world, all the divisiveness, I get pulled into the crap a lot, right? But I've gotten better at staying out of the crap. And it's strongly due to Carlos's approach to the world. I mean, he has this motto, what is it? We walk, we don't stand on issues, we walk with people. And he has strong views and strong opinions, and sometimes it plays out on different aspects of the political spectrum, but he doesn't jump he has a great way of looking at it all and finding the hope and the humanity and helping all of us reconnect with our hope and humanity and discover what is the actions that we really need to take. His book Reconnected is just phenomenal. He went to like a monastery in the Amish country and unplugged from all social media, unplugged from everything for like a couple of months or something, and then wrote about the experience. And it's pretty amazing and absolutely on point with what we need in this world today. So Carlos Whitaker, you can find him on Instagram at LosWit. Highly recommend him if you're looking for a source of inspiration and a way to navigate this crazy time on the planet that we have right now. He's a great one to follow. And then Glow Atanmo, everything about her is light. She is an awesome leader and guide and exudes light. I came in contact with her through Brendan Burchard's Growth Day coaching program. She was one of the coaches. He would have coaches present. He had lots of huge name coaches like Mel Robbins and Jamie Kern-Lima and many, many others. And they would rotate and we would have live sessions. We would be on Zoom live with these amazing powerhouse speakers. This was in the early days of Brendan's Growth Day group. And Glow just blew me away because she always just over-delivered every single session. It was just so jam-packed with learning on all aspects of life. And the more I got to hear her life story, the more inspiring it was to me. Now, what made me tear up too when I heard this is I realized I've met both Carlos and Glow in person since I made this video. Glow is my coach and my mentor. I'm part of her Life Leap program. It's because of Glow that I'm on YouTube at all. It was because of Glow that I went to Bali and got to have my own little Eat, Pray, Love experience. Because of Glow that I've learned about content creation, that I've learned about how I wanted to serve, that I've honed my voice on my podcast. And I met her in Bali, and then a couple years later, this past November, I spent time with her in Chiang Mai and Bangkok for 2 different events, and have been a private client of hers and part of her Life Leap program. So she's a very present mentor and coach in my life. And I've got to meet her in person. And then Carlos, I happened to be like here in New Jersey when he was going around on his book tour and book signings. And I got to meet him live for his book signing. And he was the same live in person as he was online. There was a line of people lining up waiting for this book signing. And before it started, he literally took time and stopped and spoke with each person in line, like had a conversation, like asked, like looked me in the eyes and asked me questions about myself. And just, I was just blown away with his presence and his energy. But I just find it, I guess, here I am thinking that I've thought that I'm not that great at manifesting, but I think I am, and I didn't even know it, because these things definitely happened, and I have excellent mentors that help me. Whew. So that was it. In terms of the shame about depression and anxiety, I don't think it's a thing for me anymore. I don't think it is. I don't think the shame thing is. I think the shame was related to who I thought I was supposed to be and what was a supposed weakness. I really think that's what it was. So I don't think that's a particular struggle. I don't know. All right, so let's take a look at day 15. Hello everyone, it's Amy on day 15 of my summer transformation sabbatical, and I am currently in rest mode. This is my view. I'm just sitting here listening to the sound of the waves. I'm resting and waiting. I have cleaners at my apartment, cleaning it out, doing a final deep clean, and then my car is being picked up at any time over the next 3 hours. And they'll be giving me I guess they give me a 1 hour's notice for that. So I've taken advantage of just being out of the way by just sitting here and listening and watching. I do have to say, I feel lighter already. I'm feeling more and more like myself. If you get what, I'm not sure if you know what I mean by that, but I just feel more myself. And as I accomplish each group of tasks towards making my move and moving forward, I'm feeling more and more relaxed, more and more relieved, lighter and brighter. So all of that tells me I'm doing the right thing. I'm on the right path. And yes, of course, what am I going to do for income factors in. Several people have advised me, don't think about it, don't worry about it, take the summer, you'll be fine, it'll all work out. And I know it will all work out. But it helps me to just have a little bit of stability and safety, etc. and I feel good about my prospects right now. I have a couple potential projects in the works that will help me in generating some income over the summer, which is just what I want and need. So I'm not showing my face today. I mean, I can, but unshowered, filthy, etc. And it's just much nicer to look at this beautiful view and to listen. Hope you are all well. Take care. Interesting. Now, I remember that day now. I think I was feeling lighter and closer to myself the more my task list was getting shorter. The things I needed to do, the things I was feeling stressed about. So I think that's what was leading to that. Seeing Heisler Park in Laguna Beach there, and then in the other video, seeing the montage a little further south in Laguna Beach. I'm so happy. I'm heading to California in a couple of weeks. I'm going to be in La Jolla, not really in Laguna, but now that I'm seeing these videos, I'm feeling like I need a day trip to Laguna. I definitely need to go there and see that ocean and hear those waves. Yeah. So I was talking about worrying about, like, I brought up income. I forgot that I was feeling stressed about money still at this point. Now, keep in mind, I had a reasonable savings, not huge, but reasonable. Part of it was because I had a down payment for a house that I was never able to get. So I had a little bit of a cushion, and I had given myself permission to take the 3 months and to not worry about it. But I think I was worried about it. I think I did think about it, at least in the beginning of the sabbatical. And I talked about prospects and projects and ways to earn some money over the summer. I think so. Couple things there. I think it helped me to put feelers out and to see what possibilities were out there. I kind of remember some of the conversations I was having, and I was completely going through contacts, current, former, like going way back into my history, just reaching out to anyone, like, to kind of see. I think I was like telling them what I was doing a little bit. I've done a video on how to get freelance corporate contracts to help fund your mission-based business. So I've done a video on that. I started doing it before I left Laguna Beach. I think I might have paused it more once I left. We'll see. But I think it made me feel better. It made me feel less anxious to kind of planting some seeds and having some conversations. Some of the conversations that started here did turn into projects. I don't think I started working on them, though, in the summer. I think it was more like in the fall, but I don't know. I just find it interesting that has changed for me a little bit. Like I've always been like goal, action, task, deliverables. Like I still have a lot of that in me, but it's not a driving force for my life anymore. And it's not necessarily connected to my ability to stay calm and to ward off anxiety, and my ability to have faith that it's going to come together. I have a little more ease with how I approach what I'm doing. Still highly productive. Any of my clients would tell you, including my corporate clients, that I do a lot for them and I get a lot done. So it works, but it's just a different approach. There's less false urgency. There's more of a calm urgency, just a steady purpose. So that was interesting to hear my framing of that. It's a reminder of how far I've come in that approach because I wanted to get out of that hustle and grind culture. And looking back on then versus now, I definitely think I've come a long way and it's had great results. All right, that was days 14 and 15. I think there's one more day that I actually film from Laguna before I leave and go to my next location. And I think that the next one, the one more day, it's a meaty one. So I'll do a recap of that soon. Again, my name is Amy Palmer. If you are looking to design a pretirement for yourself, if you are tired of how you've been hustle and grinding, but you still have 5, 10, 15 years of this ahead of you because you're not close to retirement financially or chronologically or any other reason, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to help you. That's why I put together the permission to pause how to design your pretirement program. You can check it out, permissiontopause.today. It'll tell you all about it there. And several of the women who've gone through this course, I've also done individual sessions with them where we've done a deeper dive that has proven to be quite productive. So if that calls to you and it sounds like something that would be helpful for you as we really look into how do we design a life now that is joyful, that is filled with purpose, that is still generating income, and that you can enjoy without feeling burnt, without feeling done. We can talk about that. My name is Amy Palmer. I am your Gen X big sister. Thank you. Please like, follow, subscribe, share, spread the word. And I do have my free coffee chat this Sunday coming up soon. GenXWomenCoffeeChat.com. Join us. Bye.